Hey, who feels like a collection update? Well, too bad, because that's what you're getting. How you doing, guys? It's been a minute. Thanks for joining me. First of all, if you haven't subscribed yet, just click the button down below. Do yourself a favor, you're gonna love it. If you're already subscribed, thank you. I really appreciate it. So, got a bunch of stuff in. You know the drill. Before you ask, I know what you're gonna say about the shirt. Dude, where did you get that shirt? A man doesn't kiss and tell. Don't worry about it. Here's some stuff I've been getting in my collection over the past couple of weeks. Yeah, where do we begin? By the way, in the background, this was randomly chosen by Discogs. They have a random pick feature, or whatever you want to call it, and it shows this, and this is one of the most recent albums I picked up in the last couple of weeks. Iron Flame with Lightning Strikes the Crown. Great traditional heavy metal, power metal kind of stuff. The singer, Andrew Delicagna, is also in Chochwan. I want to say he does everything in this band. Yeah, a couple of guest appearances from Aaron Carey of Chochwan also. Picked this up in a used CD bin up in Dubuque a couple of months ago. Stoked on it. Yeah, Iron Flame. Not my usual wheelhouse, but I am such a fan of Andrew Delicagna's singing on anything he does. He sings for Obsequiat sometimes. Plays drums. Good stuff. Happy to support the family. Okay, so a couple LPs, a couple CDs, you know the drill, bunch of riffs. I hope you like riffs, because that's what you're gonna get if you listen to any of these fine releases. First, okay, this artwork sucks, but this was originally released in '96. Vargavinter were a Swedish black metal band. There you go! Hey, I figured out my focus deal. The album is called Frostfod. I'll put the original album cover here for you to check out. Kind of like, but this is going to get reissued again this year. I think it's by the Devil's Elixir Records. I'll put a link down below for you to be sure. But I couldn't wait. I ponied up and got this one. And this fucking digipack, the tray fell out of it already. So I recommend not buying this one. Why do they do this? These things never work. Anyways, killer Swedish black metal from 1996. And I mean, it's not super different from a lot of other that kind of stuff. Your Nagelfars, your Sacramentums, Niflheim kind of stuff. But it is fast. This is face-ripping, just absolute life-melting fucking riffs all over the place. Just gorging on Swedish melodic black metal right here. If that's what you want all day long, Vargavinter's Frostfod, look no further. You know, fair amount of songs. 8 songs on it, it's your normal length. It rules. You should be able to pick up this edition of it for fairly cheap like I did, 10 or 12 bucks or so, but yeah, I would say wait for that reissue coming out in a couple of months if this piques your interest at all. It's killer. The original, like, I kind of feel like not a lot of people know about it, but thankfully someone picked it up and is reissuing it anyways. Got a couple of kind of slamming classics in here. I've been after this one for quite a while. I had it on tape many years ago, and then I hawked all my tapes. And I've been meaning to pick this up on CD. It's surprisingly hard to get because it's been out of print for so many fucking years. Indecent and Obscene by Dismember. Duh. Original copies, impossible to find. I mean, for obvious reasons. It's a classic, amazing record. But Regain Records reissued this back in, I would say, yes, fuck me. A couple of bonus tracks on here. I haven't had a chance to spin this as much as I wish, but I'm just gonna throw this out there. 2008, 6, somewhere around there maybe. So it's kind of old, but not as old as the original version of it though. You all know Dismember, fucking killer. After this, they put out Massive Killing Capacity, which I also used to have. I had like a CD promo of it. I don't know where the fuck it went, but yeah, a decent enough scene. Looks like the colors on this are kind of blown out, so I was kind of thinking this might be a bootleg. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does that look like your version of it? The CD looks particularly shitty, but maybe that's just because Regain didn't know what they were doing back when this came out. I don't know. Anyway, it's a killer record. It sounds fine, from what I can tell. Speaking of killer Swedish riffs, this is another one. Like, this could just go arm in arm with Vargavinter all day long. But this band is called Rowan of Ahaz, and a lot of you should be familiar with this already. I picked this up on LP because Peaceville reissued it 2 years ago now, I think. But this was originally released in '96 on No Fashion. And this is the OG No Fashion version. I paid for it. We'll just say that. It wasn't crazy. It was what I wanted to pay for it. And this rules. So, total Dissection clone kind of stuff. But I mean, these guys came up right alongside Dissection at the time. So, I mean, it totally makes sense that it sounds like that. It's not ripping them off whatsoever. It's just, that's the kind of thing I'll take all day long. Buckets and buckets in my mouth. Put it in my mouth. Do not quote me on that. This stuff though is maybe a little bit more slowed down, a little bit more patient, a little bit more grim than your Dissections. And weirdly enough, like, okay, track 7, Blackthorn Crown, sounds like it would be a cover of some like 80s thrash band kind of deal, but it's their song. And then it's followed up by a cover of Black Sabbath. The track, Black Sabbath. Which, it's okay. I mean, I love Black Sabbath, of course, but it's just, I didn't need to hear that. I don't understand why they chose that. It's almost like the Mexican radio, like Celtic Frost. Like, what were you thinking? But anyways, killer album. I've been after this fucking album for years. Finally got it. How about those fucking vocals, huh? Also, my favorite subscriber sent me a care package the other day. He delivers. Dave, you deliver. My man. My man. So, he lives by Cheapo, my favorite record store in all of the universe. And he sees killer shit just come in there all the time. So he knows what I like, and we were talking about this album the other day, and he was just like, "Oh, swing by and pick you up a copy," because I lost an auction on this on eBay. Fucking what? Why don't I live up there? Anyways, this is the final album in my collection that I needed to pick up from Octinimos. Oh yeah. Simon from Explosive Action just picked up a copy of this, only it had a different logo on it because he has the first version of it. This is the Full Moon Productions version of it. If you don't know Octinimos, I am like a broken record. This is a Swedish black metal band that came out in 1994? We'll go ahead and look this up. I don't want it to be 96. The album is called On the Demiurge, which I don't know what the fuck that means. Yep, sure enough, 1996. Welcome to the Swedish Black Metal 96 channel. My name is Brain Smasher, and we're going to talk about some Swedish Black Metal from 1996 today. Yeah. Drum machine kind of stuff, if you're familiar at all with his other project, Parnassus, which rules, absolutely rules. It's quite similar to that. Parnassus is just relentlessly blasting. Leaves no room for breathing whatsoever. Octinimos is a little more fun. It has a little bit more variation going on there, a little bit more diversity going on to the songwriting. This is my favorite thing he's done. I believe, I would say. I don't understand why they didn't do this in black and white. It's weirdly like blue and white. Yeah, digging that. Focus, guys, figured out. Thank you for bearing with me through 32 videos that were out of focus. I'm sorry. Another thing he sent me as just a token of his affection for me doing this, can you believe someone appreciates this? Was a copy of Thou Art Lord's Eosphoros. Not Swedish. I don't think it came out in 96. 1994, it turns out. This is a Floga Records reissue of this. I was wanting to pick up a copy of this because Eric Bauer was talking about it a year or two ago, but I couldn't find an OG copy of it for an affordable price. So my man Dave picked this up for me. Killer Greek kind of, it's like Hellenic black metal with a little bit of fucking might to it. Great shit. In the pantheon of great Greek black metal bands, you could say Rotting Christ, Necromantia. I don't really care for Necromantia, but Varathron, and then you got Thou Art Lord. I would maybe put these guys right next to Varathron and Necromantia. Yeah. But if I'm wrong about Necromantia, what am I missing, man? Is there some album that you think I would like versus the ones that everybody else likes? Anyways, off topic, obviously. Eosphoros rules. Thank you, Dave. You're the man. Speaking of thank yous, Ken from Ken's Death Metal Crypt, not only did he thank me for my support and kinship in this world of metal YouTubing, but he also sent me a free copy of this album, Unnatural. A lot of big words here. The Afflicted Path to Cursed Putrefaction. This is a collection of all of Unnatural stuff. Now, if you don't know, Ken's Death Metal Crypt, 3 years ago or so, I would just put on, I still do, a death metal demo that he would upload to his channel. He did this thing where he just uploads rare American death metal demos to his YouTube channel, and it was awesome. And then I ran into him in Chicago a couple years ago. Super nice guy. Added him on Facebook, and we wound up adding him to our live stream chats. And eventually from there, we talked him into doing YouTubing, and now he's interviewing killer death metal bands every couple of weeks or so, and it's awesome. So I appreciate Ken finally getting in front of the camera and doing what we do, because it rules. You're doing a good job at it, and I appreciate it. Unnatural are pretty fucking good. Heavy, caveman, knuckle-dragging, ham-fisted death metal, a la Goat Lord, Derketa, 13, that kind of stuff. If that's your bag, if you don't want it overcomplicated or overthought, this brutality is just more than you can take. So this came out very recently on Famine Records. There's Ken. Come on. Yeah. So this is a collection of all their stuff up until now. I believe they're working on a full length. I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna come out on Famine Records. So thank you, Ken. I appreciate it. I've been spinning this. It is guttural and brutal. How about some vinyl? A friend of mine, Jackie, I don't know if she had an extra copy of this or something. You might know her on Instagram, Morgoth78. She kind of does the same thing a lot of us do. But she wanted to send me a copy. She wanted to send anybody a copy of this, and I wound up saying, hey, send it to me. I was curious about this Despondent Moon. The album is called The Infernal Shadows of Winter. And this came out last year on his Wounds. This is a solo black metal project, as you can tell from the cover probably, of just grim, nasty black metal from the UK. Also of the anti-fascist ilk. I support that fully. Cool stuff. It's not as run-of-the-mill as I would have expected it to be based on this cover artwork, which was refreshing and satisfying, and I'm happy to have it in the collection. It's really kind of upper register, like, I know I just talked about Parnassus, but kind of reminds me of that. It's like hyper speed, blasty, grim as fuck, monochromatic, drum machine black metal with good riffs, good vocals, good stuff. Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate it. More CDs. Wait, these guys are from Germany. This is Unlord with Gladiator. This is just fun, blasty, brutal black metal. I don't really know how to explain why so many other bands can be as generic as Unlord, but not cut the mustard like Unlord does. There's just something about them that I'm in full support of Unlord for. They're just unrelenting, barbaric, great riffing. It's almost like if you asked Dark Funeral to play good riffs and not be boring, it might sound something kind of like this, only there's just this kind of like, there's kind of a death metal sort of meatiness to it. I don't really know how to put it into words. Unlord, though, are fucking good. Joe Patagno artwork on that. These guys put out 3 albums, and I have always just had Schwarzwald. So this is the second one, and the first one is kind of hard to come by. This one came out originally, I'm gonna say like maybe 94, 95, 96, somewhere around there. Good shit, my man. Always wanted to pick up a copy of Mysticum's In the Stream of Inferno. Just never got around to it. I have picked up 3 different Peaceville releases in the last couple of months that do this. I don't need this shit in my life. I don't need to protect my jewel case. The jewel case protects the good stuff. Why put the good stuff on the outside? Fucking pisses me off. Okay, so this has In the Streams of Inferno and a bonus DVD with it. And you should be able to pick this up for really, really cheap. I thought I would wait long enough and eventually maybe be able to find a copy of the full moon version of this, and I never could. But here's the thing. I've listened to this album a couple of times over the years and just thought, that's interesting. And now that I have a copy of it, it's kind of lost on me. I get how innovative it is, and it's kind of fun just because of how kind of nasty and weird it is. I did pick up a compilation of their demos a couple of years ago before I ever picked this up. So yeah, it kind of missed its mark with me now that I have it. I'm sure someday I'll put it in and maybe it'll be great when I'm in the mood for something like that. I didn't even watch the live DVD on it because, I don't know, just wasn't feeling it. I have been getting back into a black metal mood as of late, so maybe this is around the corner for me, but yeah, I'm just not super into it right now. Dudes. What I am super into, no, I'm not any of this stuff. A lot of this stuff is kind of like mediocre kind of stuff that I've just picked up over the last few months. Always meant to pick up this, finally got it, Spina Bifida. With, boy, what is that? Ziada? This is a Dutch, I think, Death Doom project that originally came out in '93. I'm not sure what label it was originally on, but Memento Mori reissued this 3 or 4 years ago and tacked on a demo. Thank you. This is good stuff. It's very warm sounding. It's it doesn't, like, a lot of Death Doom has that just trying to just exist in the depths of all emotion and just the vastness and sorrow. This is just kind of like comfortably mid-ranged. It isn't that emotionally taxing in any way, but it's fun. It's got good riffs. It's got nice vocals all over the place. It's been a while since I listened to it, so I'm not super familiar with it, but I wound up liking that quite a bit. Yeah. All right, so a lot of people are super hot on this. The expectations were through the roof on a lot of this stuff. So what's the deal with Stormkeep's Galdrum? First of all, if you're anything like me, I'm sure you're thinking, that looks exactly like the cover of Abigor's Channeling the Quintessence of Satan. Yeah, it does. But whatever. There's a lot of album covers that look like a lot of album covers. So this is members of Blood Incantation and Wayfarer playing 90s black metal. And yeah, it's okay. It's just okay. The opening riff is amazing. Starts off super, super strong, and I wish they could have held on to that throughout the whole thing. But it wounds up getting watered down by interludes and intros and intermissions and stuff like that, which I get. Like if you take, for example, speaking of Abigor, their Orkblute EP, that has a lot of sort of like folky instrumentation and stuff going on to add some variety, and that worked for me. As a kid, when I got into that thing, that just blew my goddamn mind because I'd never heard anything like that before. So a lot of this is kind of like setting the higher bar for a lot of that kind of stuff. But first of all, lately I'm just in the mood where I am sick of new bands that are just recreating old stuff. I'm way more in the mood because this is taking up so much more of my time that I would rather be using to listen to the old classics, like Abigor's earlier releases and stuff like that. I'm not going to say don't play in a band that plays awesome stuff like the 90s bands, but for me to care, for me to really, really hype something like that, it's got to be as good, if not better than that for me. Stormkeep, I hope your next release is better than this. It's not bad. I'm happy to own it. I think the first couple of riffs are awesome. There are some moments on this that are really, really killer, and you show a lot of potential. I look forward to your full length. I don't feel like I'm like out of nowhere with that opinion. But I think a lot of people were thinking, holy shit, this is going to be goddamn amazing. Alright, another slab I picked up off eBay for some money. Unanimated. Within the Forest of the Dreaming Dead. Is that right? In the Forest of the Dreaming Dead. I have not spent a lot of time listening to Unanimated over the years. I've just kind of always thought, yeah, I'll pick them up when I do. But it's come to this. I had to get this on eBay for quite a bit of money. Picked up the Ancient God of Evil a couple years ago too, and that one rules. I think I like that more than this one. So this is a Pavement Records reissue of the Necropolis thing. I'm not sure why more than one person said, yeah, let's go with that album cover, but here we are. Unanimated were again, kind of coming up along the ranks of your Dissections and Sacramentums and stuff like that. Sounds quite a bit similar to that, but I think these guys were just a little bit younger and maybe a little bit earlier than some of those guys were at this kind of thing. This album is really, really good, but I would take off the Venom cover, of course, and a couple of tracks get a little kind of long-winded on here. I would tighten this up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 songs on this thing. If you could trim this down to like 40 minutes, 8 tracks or so, I think you'd have a much better album. There's killer moments on it, and it was recorded in Sunlight Studios, if I'm not mistaken. If not, it sounds like it was. Unicorn Studios. I'm thinking of the other record. The other record they put out was recorded in Unisound by Dan Spania. But there you go, Unanimated. Check it out. It's a classic. I want to say they were reissued. That was reissued by Century Media this year. They announced it like back in April or May of 2019 and never got around to it until I want to say stuff's starting to get crazy here now that we're packing for the big move. But I want to say that's got to be out by now, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, couple of duds here. I'm house cleaning. Not everything I buy is great, guys. This is Hellspell. So a couple of months ago, I was posting about Setherial's Nord album on Instagram, and I wound up talking to this guy. His username is Hatpatstorn, and he's a Swedish guy. And just a total historian of this kind of stuff. And I was just like, hey, if you feel like it, throw me a bunch of recommendations of stuff that sounds like the first Setherial. And this was one of the things that he mentioned. So I put this on my wish list, found a copy of it for just a couple of bucks. And if you want to talk about a stupid fucking album cover, look at the hairy legs of Satan on that fucking thing. Invasion Records. Whoever was doing design for Invasion Records back in the late 90s, you ought to be shot. No shit. Look at this disc. They took the cover art and just fucking spread it out in this circular thing. Oh my god. Is there no fucking... Oh my god. Awful. This is a pretty decent record though. It was not a bad recommendation based on this is so awful. Based on Setherial's Nord, it's nowhere near as grim or Emperor sounding as Setherial's Nord is. But this is just kind of one of those late 90s Swedish black metal classics that fell through the cracks. Saying it's a classic is really pushing it there. But for me, who's interested in like no-name turn of the century kind of bullshit like this is the kind of shit I'm gonna buy for under 10 bucks all the time, obviously, as you can see. So I picked up this weird, I think this is a bootleg. This is a band that I had not even heard of. I was just looking up through a distro. I want to say it was Paragon Records, and I wound up just grabbing this because it was a bootleg of an album that goes for a lot of money. And when there's something that I haven't heard of and I find out that it goes for a lot of money and an original press of it, I'm kind of curious about it these days. Especially when it comes to, you know, this kind of late 90s rarity kind of stuff. If you'll pardon me, I'm going to look up and find out where these guys are from. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with this release now that I own it. Dark Reality is the band, and the album is called Umbra Cineris. They were a German doom folk goth metal band. And this came out in '94, and it was self-released. So I listened to this on YouTube, and I was like, I'm buying that thing. This thing is so absolutely bonkers weird. There's, what am I? I'm not sure. Is this the lewdest fucking thing you've ever seen on an album cover? I'm gonna hold it up in case it is. So, super, super weird folky instruments going on. Just goofy folk metal all over the place. This thing is bizarre as all shit. I think I listened to it once or twice or so, and yeah. On that note, oh yeah, okay. So I was aware of this band because they did an album a couple of years later called Oh Precious Haze, Pervade the Pain. There's an album title. And I'm not remembering it off the top of my head what that particularly sounds like, but I remember being pretty blown away by that album years and years and years ago. I'll have to put that in and reacquaint myself to compare to this weird fucking oddity. I'll put a link down below so you can check it out. We're going on 30 minutes here, so I'm going to cut it. Thank you for watching, and thank you for continuously supporting my channel. We'll see you next time.